Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our PTS stream for Year 8 Season 2. I'm here with my dear colleague, the game director for Division 2, Alexandro Birzano. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey there, everybody. Glad to be here again. You almost said Year 8 Season 1.
Yeah,
I know.
Almost. I was thinking about the numbers and the names. This is because we haven't revealed the name of the new season. And yes, this is another pre-recorded stream. I saw someone say in the chat, so it would be pretty impressive if actually this was a pre-recorded stream. And I had predicted this joke in the chat. So yeah, this is live.
Paid actors.
This is gonna be a long stream. I wouldn't say long, but like we have a lot of things to cover, and this is for a good way because we have a lot of content to show to you all. Yesterday I was live with Anais and Claudio from Bucharest, so you have now a higher standard to meet, Alex, because yesterday Claudio became a meme with the po sound effect.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm expecting the same from you today. So let's see what you bring to us. So for those who watched it yesterday, we mentioned that today or very soon we would come live to talk about PTS. Season 1 is almost ending, and this is the time for us to discuss what's coming next. Before I start talking about Season 2, I would like to give you the opportunity and just chat about the current state of the game and how things are, because a lot of times I feel that the community thinks that we're not reading. We're reading everything, all the Reddit threads. I saw one day one guy saying, yeah, I'm sure Leo is reading the comments here. I almost comment like, hey, I'm here reading everything. But yeah, we know the discussions, we know what's the feedback, what's happening right now in the community. And there's some topics that we'd like to address before jumping into the PTS, right, Alex?
Yep. So obviously we launched a lot of things in Season 1. We had the retaliation improvements, we had escalation, we introduced prototype as a new gear quality, and yeah, it's been a bumpy season to say the least, but we've been addressing and making changes both on live and on our end, and I wanted to make sure that we can communicate some of the changes that we plan on making for Season 2, so to address the feedback that we've seen. So first of all, if you all remember, at the start of Season 1, we said that the tokens are going to be reset at the end of the season. We're not doing that anymore. After careful consideration, I'm pretty happy with where the token input economy is at the moment, so I don't feel that we need to continue with resetting the tokens. On the tokens, though, however, so I'm not pleased with the difference of rewards that a host gets compared to a guest in escalation. Right now I don't feel like the host that is putting in all of the risk is rewarded enough, and for good reasons. The numbers showcase that themselves. So for Season 2, for the launch, we will be we're going to go back to the formula based on which the rewards are based and change them so that the host has more rewards than the guest, as it should be. Additionally, we are also looking into reassessing the costs of entry for escalation for each tier, and basically I think if I can put an umbrella under all of these changes that we plan on making for escalation, we want to make it easier to climb and less painful should you fail. So I think this is our guiding principle moving forward with escalation. And I'm happy. Yeah.
I would say that just to clarify, like for example, the new formula for tokens for hosts and the other members of the group, this is something for Season 2, but not necessarily is going to be reflected here in the PTS, because we're talking about Season 2, but the PTS is purely to test things for Season 2 that is not related to the balance of escalation, right?
For sure, yeah. Thank you for that comment.
Just to clarify expectations, yeah.
Yeah, everything that I just said won't be present in this PTS, but it will be there for 2.0 for season launch. And based on popular feedback, if you all remember, there used to be some crates in escalation and we took them away. So I saw how much players liked that part of the experience. And I'm happy to say that we agree. It's cool. It's fun. We've tested it some more on our end now that it's intended. And as of Season 2, we are going to add those crates back into the mission. I really like that it gave players a reason to go through each of the missions and not just constantly replay one mission. So I think crates do a good job. So we're bringing them back. And I have one more bit to talk about live, the current state of live. So after the Season 1 release, we heard a lot of feedback that players would like to be able to have more control over their gear. And that's when we came out and said, cool, okay, everyone wants some sort of recalibration optimization. We're going to work on that. We're still working on that, so it will come, not for Season 2 launch, but as soon as it's going to be ready, we'll put it in the game. We want to make sure that it doesn't create more bugs and that it is an elegant solution within the entire ecosystem, but expect more news on it soon, I guess.
So we're not launching for Season 2, but we're not going to wait all the way to Season 3 to release that. It's like as soon as it's ready and we have a maintenance window, we're going to deploy to players, right?
If it's ready before Season 3, yes. We're not going to wait a season. If it's ready in Season 3 or longer in time, then yes, it will launch then. So, but as soon as it's ready is the message.
Perfect. No, I think this is great. I feel that for a long time we've been seeing players talking about the escalation. Obviously, it's a hot topic because it was the new feature introduced in Year 8 and everybody's grinding hard for the new prototype gear and everything that comes with that. So, for example, the crates feedback for escalation, we heard this from the community. We saw players saying, hey, that was a nice encouragement for me to go and rotate to all the missions. That's exactly what you said. So just reinforcing that this is based on community feedback. And keep going, keep sending to us. We want to understand how to better improve and take our time to reflect on that, but also to move in the right direction. So yeah, thank you, Alex. I feel that a lot of people came here for Season 2 waiting for some prototype gear and escalation updates that I feel that this covered a lot of the hottest feedback.
And that's not even what this season is about. This is just us, like there's some issues that we're seeing. We're not abandoning these features, right? Everything that we put in the game, and it's a permanent addition. We want to make sure it's in a good state moving forward.
Yeah, and this is why we're covering here with this setup, because this is not what is going to be on the PTS build. We are just talking about what's coming next, but we have a lot of things for the PTS. And one thing that is very important to acknowledge since the beginning is that this is a very early build, right? This is like the earliest, I think, that we have shared what we're working for the players, and we literally have some weapons that are TBD in the build because we are trying to get more testing happening, right?
Yeah, this is a super early build, like fresh, hot, off the press, so to say. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's work in progress, but we feel like we have so many changes for this upcoming season. We want to bring it early to the players. We want to hear the feedback, and we're bringing it so early so that we also have time to address that feedback.
Yeah, before we go to Season 2, I just saw a question here. I feel that this is also a good opportunity for us to clarify. It was the first time chat.farm who asked, when is crossplay? I feel that every single season, every single stream, we have people asking about crossplay. So do you have any update for the players about that?
Sure, yeah. So we're working on it. It is an incredibly technical feature, so this is not something that you could just roll out in 1 month. There's so many edge cases because we're trying to make this crossplay system be as expansive as possible, like hearing player feedback, oh, I'd like to be able to opt out. Well, sure, we also want that, but that's going to take extra time on our end. I want to be able to join another person's clan from another platform. I also want to do that. That is extra time. Imagine what happens if you join the clan from another platform, but then you opt out of crossplay. So these are the minute details that make crossplay a beast of a feature. We're working on it. As soon as it's ready, I can't wait to let players be able to play the game together cross-platform. So please be patient with us as we trud along through the large list of edge cases for cross-play, but it's coming. It's progressing nicely so far.
Perfect. So now that we've talked about those other things, it's time to talk about Season 2. Season 2, the PTS of Season 2 starts tomorrow. So yes, if you guess that we're doing a stream today because it's going to be available for you tomorrow. So tomorrow you'll be able to play test the first PTS phase of Season 2. We might have a second phase, right? I feel that this is also something important to set expectations since the beginning, because we're changing a lot of things, we're bringing a lot of things, and we want to test more, right?
Yeah, I think in order to make sure that we deliver everything at top quality and we get the balance just right, you'll see soon enough what we're balancing. Ideally, we'd try to get 2 PTS tests this season. So this one is the really early one where there's a lot of things, work in progress. And hopefully we can do another one before season launch where, based on the feedback that we receive, we'll add that into that PTS and do one more assessment before launch. That would be my hope.
Perfect. So I've seen a lot of questions in the chat. Some of them we're going to clarify it over the stream. So I feel that now it's time to go to the gameplay. I would like to make a statement here that you're going to see my gameplay today. So usually it's Yannick who is playing, and I'm just here taking care of the chat and making questions and organizing the flow of the stream. Today it's me playing. So Alex is all the way from Bucharest watching my gameplay and making comments. So I'm sorry if I don't excel in my gameplay skills. Yesterday I talked about combining Whiplash, the new exotic for Season 1 Climax Mission, with Iron Lung, and people made jokes about that. I'm sorry, I forgot. I was just thinking about an LMG. But yeah, now you're going to see how far I've come in Division 2. And there's one important thing to tackle before I show my shade level, because I'm sure people are curious about my grinding, is that we have a name for Season 2. So the Year 8 Season 2, it's called Into the Dark. So right now you're following the Rise Up season. I'm not going to spoil the Climax mission, but you're going to see who's behind the whole plot of the Rise Up and the whole thing with the Black Tusk. For Season 2, I'm not making any further comments, but it's around the Hyenas faction, and the name of the season is Into the Dark, and that's what you can see here on the right side of my screen. So this way everybody knows what's the name, so I don't open the menu and people spot by mistake. And yeah, I'm almost level 1000, shade 1000.
Let's go!
I'm planning to reach that before Season 2, so I can change my global difficulty to heroic. And today you're gonna see my character, but with different gear, because I'm here to show what's new. So let's go, Alex. What's new about Season 2? What's the most important new feature that we're bringing here?
Well, I was going to pass that question on to you from the perspective of, so it's called Into the Dark. Why is it called Into the Dark, Leo? You wanted to drink water. Fine. No worries. I got this.
Go. Take the answer.
So we've been working on this update for quite some time, and it's a special update, I'd like to say. We're bringing players into the Dark Zones, and we've made many changes to the Dark Zones. You'll, as we'll be presenting everything, you'll find out soon enough why we're making changes to the Dark Zones, but this season is focused primarily around the Dark Zones, and we have some very interesting changes that we made to them. Do you want me to cover it? Should you?
No, I would just show that now you're seeing the mega map. If you see the Dark Zone South, you're going to see the same old icon for the regular Dark Zone, and you're going to notice that we have a different icon for the West Dark Zone and the East Dark Zone. So yeah, we have 3 different types of Dark Zone right now, and I think the most important one to cover is the East one. So let's start with the West one. So what's the difference between South one and the West one? Both of them are purple in our UI.
Yeah, for starters, again, this is a very early build, work in progress. Icons are work in progress. Some of you are spotting an icon over there that you've seen somewhere else. Work in progress. We'll get to it. But yes, south and west. So the south dark zone, as we can see, is looking quite familiar. So this is the same dark zone with the same rules that you've experienced before. If you've played the dark zone, it's the same old for now. So there's not much to say about the south one. On the west one, on the other hand, so this dark zone, we're making a change to the power level or the rule set present within this dark zone. In this particular dark zone, we wanted to make a more even ground, a playing field for all players, by which your SHD levels are not applied in this zone, and neither is your expertise. So this makes it so that newer players could fight on a more equal footing with veterans. Consider this as a ramp up of getting into the DZ, a softer dark zone experience. And we're making this ramp up because of another dark zone that's present more in the east. We have a even softer ramp for those that maybe wanted to experience the dark zone, but were too afraid of PvP. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, and this is the dark zone that is the exclusive feature for season 2. So it's going to be present only for season 2 for now, but let's see how the community reacts to that. And this is the PvE Dark Zone. So the whole season is based on the concept of the PvE Dark Zone or going to the Dark Zones, right? And I think this is a very hot topic in the community, having Dark Zones as PvE. I would like to understand from you, like, what was the direction that you want to go with this, and what players can expect from the Dark Zone PvE?
For sure. So we wanted to go in this direction because of 3 reasons. One, I've heard numerous times players say, hey, I'd really like to experience the Dark Zone. I'm not a big fan of PvP. Well, we have 3 Dark Zones. We could make one of them PvE, and I don't think we would be sacrificing from the PvP experience that much. It's not just a PvE Dark Zone, so but whatever. I'll get back to that later. So that was one of the reasons. Secondly, we made the entire season scenario around the Dark Zone, so we needed more control over the experience. So that by making the Dark Zone PvE, we can ensure that what you're doing over there makes sense with the vision that we have for this experience, and more details on that later. And lastly, we did quite a lot of changes to PvP. So I mentioned that Dark Zone West is a nice ramp for players to get started in PvP. I'm hoping that with the PvE Dark Zone, we can get players familiar with the maps, with the layout, with the intended experience of a Dark Zone. And then, if they so choose to, they can then migrate towards the PvP, the higher risk Dark Zones.
Yeah, we have, I've seen people in the beginning saying, oh, they forgot about PvP, they hire a PvP designer. We're going to cover all of that today. So I'm excited to share news about PvP, because since I've joined this game, I've been seeing a lot of comments for that, and it feels good to finally address the pain points that the PvP community has been pointing out. So PvE Dark Zone, I feel that it's all it's like this new proposition. We're showing a new way for people to experience Dark Zone. But is it gonna be always Dark Zone East for PvE?
So no, obviously straight up. We won't have this system right now for this PTS, but for season 2 launch, our plan is to have a rotation between the 3 Dark Zones. So right now, the PvE Dark Zone is Dark Zone East. The south one is the regular old version, and the west one is the newer, more new player friendly. Each week, this is our intention, each week the rule set would rotate between the Dark Zones so as to try to keep the experience fresh, and maybe not let players get into the same repeatable process in one particular map. So I think that's going to be awesome for versatility and to freshen up the experience. So they will rotate.
And another changes that we made to the Dark Zones is also about the Dark Zone vendors, right? So here we have the vendor from the Dark Zone East, and we have some stuff that are new here for players. So
yes, I'm happy. You can please.
No, yeah, I would say that we have here the recalibration cache costing 90 Dark Zone currency, and we have also the optimization cache for 130. This is new. This is another. This is a new addition to this specifically vendor, but this is not everything, right?
Yeah, so obviously, since we're focusing the season around the Dark Zones, it makes sense to refresh the vendors. Thank you to the lead PvP designer that put in the work to make this happen. Now, we have 3 Dark Zones. We have 3 vendors. Right now, at this vendor, you're seeing the exotic cache, and the other 2 caches, I didn't get to read them per se.
Yeah, it's the recalibration and the optimization. I can go over them, and then you maybe if it's better, because I feel that it's not worth it for me to fast travel to the other Dark Zones just to showcase. But you guys are going to be able to experiment tomorrow, to try out tomorrow. So for the East Dark Zones, is recalibration cache for 90 DZ currency and optimization for 130. These 2 that you're seeing. For the West, we have exotic component caches for 160 and reconstructed caches for 320. So I know exotic components are right now an important thing for the community. And this is South. We have prototype core caches for 170 and prototype caches for 400 DZ currency. So yeah.
Plenty of caches. More reasons to interact with the vendor. I know a lot of people, a lot of our players weren't that excited about the DZ vendors anymore. So by refreshing the rewards, I think this will give new life into these NPCs that are trying to help us out. And I have one comment to make. So it makes sense for us to add awesome rewards where there is risk. So the philosophy around the vendors, and of course the prices aren't final, this is still work in progress, but for the prototype cache specifically for the DZ, you might have heard it being tied to a large price in terms of DZ coins. That is intentional, and while the final number might not be final, it will be a high cost, because not only will it drop a random piece of prototype, I think it's a random piece of prototype, that prototype is guaranteed to be a high rolled prototype. So high risk, getting DZ coins from the Dark Zone, but also high rewards for those interested.
And talking about high risk, high rewards, we talk about that. Let me go back to the mega map. The PvP normalized Dark Zone, so the one that we have a new rule set without Shade, Watch Power, and Expertise Power. This one will drop a bonus of 200% DZ coins, so you get more DZ coins from this Dark Zone if you take the risk of going to a very normalized experience on PvP, right?
Yep, because the lethality will be higher with less power coming from, with less power differences coming from SHD and expertise. That should even out the playing field. So in theory, that should be one of the most dangerous Dark Zones. Not necessarily the most dangerous, the highest lethality. Everybody can kill everybody pretty quickly.
Cool. So I feel that we covered a lot of things when it comes to like the Dark Zones, the changes that we're making. But there are more things, because this is just the unique feature that we're bringing to Season 2 into the Dark. We also have the modifiers as always, and they are connected to our season loop, right? So if it's about Hyena's Dark Zone, we have also the modifiers. Oh, sorry, wrong button. And here you can see them. So the global modifier is called Cleaning Up the Streets, and talks about sample canisters. So dear Alex, can you explain to the players what we're trying to achieve with this global modifier, how it works?
For sure. So it looks like a lot of text. It's very simple. In this season, within the PvE Dark Zone, the hyenas are doing some shady things over there. By going into the Dark Zone, clearing landmarks, eliminating hyenas, you will be able to drop sample, no, not sample, it's sanitation canisters, what was it? Or
Sample canisters.
Sample canisters from them, and by successfully extracting in the Dark Zone, you'll be able to keep them. Now, once you have some canisters, you can go at the base of operation, donate them, and by reaching certain personal milestones with those canisters, you'll get a buff, a straight up buff for the remainder of the season. These milestones, they don't reset. The community does not affect them. This is just on you, the player, and it just stacks continuously throughout the season.
Yeah, so I will go through, I can go actually to the White House and show the seasonal vendor, how it works. I have some sample canisters right now. So we showed this, how it works. So we have this bonus. So the level 1, it's I think it was written there. Oh, by the way, something very important. We have a big patch notes, and the patch notes will drop tomorrow. So it's not coming tonight after the stream. It's coming tomorrow, because as Alex mentioned, we have a lot of things that are changing last minute. So you'll be able to preload the PTS today, but tomorrow morning we're going to have a small patch to address some of the issues, and then the patch notes will drop as well. So this is the seasonal vendor, right? And here is how you use your simple canisters. So what you recommend me to do here?
Well, aside from the fact that this menu is currently broken, work in progress, everybody, super early build. Now, normally I would say just grab the first one, the one that costs 15, because we're going to need those sample canisters in the Dark Zone for something else that will reveal. So right now, by making that purchase that Leo did, what he actually did, he traded sample canisters for something we call munitions. This is something extra. I'll explain it later. But he also increased his sample size. So by making these kinds of purchases, taking sample canisters from the Dark Zone, coming to the base of operation, and getting munitions for yourself, you're also increasing your sample size, which gives bonuses as per the text there that I can't read because I'm too far away from the screen. So if you could mention the bonuses, Leo.
Yes, so the bonus are the 0 to 99, there are different tiers. So 50% max range, 50% weapon handling, 50% magazine size, 50% damage to armor, and 50% rate of fire. So it all depends on that. There's a question in the chat. There's actually some of the comments, and I completely forgot to address this, because this is something that has been popping up, and we're talking about PvP, and obviously people are talking about cheaters. So I feel that this is a nice moment before we jump in the action to talk about the anti-cheat efforts that we have. So Alex, please, can you comment on that?
So yes, I can comment on that. So similar to crossplay, anti-cheat is a very complex system. We have a dedicated team working only on our anti-cheat efforts. This means cheat detection, whether manual or automatic, headshot detection. There's so many things that that go into it. So we are continuously working on our anti-cheat systems and improving them. And with Season 2, you'll see soon enough, we are taking PvP very serious, and we have a bunch of changes for Season 2 for PvP, and we're aware that without a healthy ecosystem, without strong anti-cheat tools, we won't be able to have a pleasant environment for our players. So we're working hard on strengthening our security measures. We're looking into all sorts of solutions for the most common problems. I don't want to mention all of them because I don't want to give cheaters a helping hand, but like particularly lag switchers are our biggest concerns right now. So we're also working on tools, prevention tools for these kinds of exploits. From Season 2 onwards, we're committed to improving these systems for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, so sorry for getting the segue, because I saw this comment in the chat, and I feel that we would be bombarded with questions about this before we jump into the action. So I want to address this as early as possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cool. So we have this. We have the modifiers, like we mentioned, and we have the active modifiers. This season we have 3 of them. We have Vicarious, Pneuma, and Invincible. Again, we don't have, for example, the icons for those modifiers. We're delivering a very early build to the players, so please test, give your feedback, but some of those things are broken because it's super early for season release. Is going to be on point, right?
Yep, and you're seeing a lot of text on the screen. We still need to do a pass on the text. There's too much text on screen. It's not going to be like that for release. But there are 2 sections in each of our active modifiers. So
Yes.
I'm not going to delve into details about each modifier, but I'd like to explain the functionality of them this season. As per usual, you can level up your active modifiers by playing and using them. This is common. We've been doing this for the past seasons. But this season, when you activate your modifier, it does what it says that it does on screen. However, should you have a particular number of sample canisters in your on you at the moment, you will trigger what we call a surge effect for the active modifier. So that means on top of the regular effect that the active modifier will have regardless of what you do when you activate it, should you have these sample canisters, you're going to have even more power added on top, and it's automatic. You don't need to do anything. You just need to have them in your inventory for this to trigger. So it's power with extra bonus power if you have these sample canisters.
Perfect. So yeah, again, we're going to have everything on the patch notes. You can see all the information there. It's going to drop down tomorrow, and this is all up to change, so please give feedback on the modifiers as well. And this is how it's going to look like for the PTS. You're going to have the surge description below the original description. The 3 active modifiers are here. You have, again, Vicarious, Pneuma, and Invincible. For example, Invincible description has just Invincible, but it's in the PTS we're gonna have in the patch notes we're gonna have everything. For example, just to go through Invincible, because we don't have a description, and I noticed this on live showing that is not pre-recorded. On activation, Invincible fully heals the agent and repairs their armor for a limited time. The agent gains very high damage reduction. Damage taken during this window is stored, then applied back to the agent when the effect ends. While active and while enemies are in front of the agent, Invincible also grants 20% movement speed, 5% armor on kill, which converts into bonus armors for Invincible's remaining duration. So, and 25% damage to targets out of cover. When Invincible ends, it enters a cooldown period of 180 seconds, so 3 minutes, and stored damage is applied back to the agent. Any bonus armor gaining through the modifier is removed. So I'm going through the description just for, I know that a lot of YouTubers are going to cover the recap of the stream, so I'm reading everything for at least for tonight. People know all the three active modifiers. And this season we have 9 passive modifiers, so we're done with the 30 something that we have in Rise Up. It's a little bit simpler. What was the design direction for passive modifiers this season, Alex? And the icons are also TBD.
I think the direction for the passive modifiers this season was Yannick coming to us and being like, can you not do 34? Can you just do 9 again? And we're like, yeah, fair enough. So because there is this layer of complexity in the global modifier, and by complexity, it's because we're talking about sample canisters, we're talking about munitions, and we're talking about that sample size that gives you bonuses. That is some complexity until players get used to it. Then the active modifiers having the default effect and the surge effect on top, we set ourselves, okay, for the passives, we're just going to make them super simple, straightforward. They do very simple things. I see something you have there about toxicity.
Yes.
So yes, they do something in regards to toxicity, and
we're going to talk about
I wonder
that.
what toxicity is.
Yeah, what is toxicity? That's a good one. Let's find out very, very soon. And we have the, before I jump to the action, because I've been doing a lot of menu walk through here with you guys. We have the hostile modifiers as always. We have 3 of them. We have Plague Doctor, we have Sopophoric, and I wish I had Yannick here because he's the French one who would say folie à deux in the best way possible, because yeah, that's a French expression. But we have here the 3 hostile modifiers for the seasons as well. We want players to think a little bit before triggering pulling the trigger, right?
Yes, and they're very much tied to the seasonal mechanic that you're going to experience. So no further comments until we show them what toxicity is.
Yes, let's go to the PvE Dark Zone now, and let's learn what is toxicity. So I'm joining Dark Zone, and you might notice that I have something on my left side there. There's a 0 and a new icon in the left, and now it's 4. What does it mean, this new information on my screen, Alex?
Not only that, but something weird is happening with the edges of your screen from what I can see, Leo. But yeah, so yes, with this season, not only will you have a PvE, not only are we introducing a PvE Dark Zone, but within this Dark Zone, so this does not apply to the PvP Dark Zones, within this Dark Zone, there is something that the hyenas are doing that's causing players to get infected, let's put it like this. On the left, what you're seeing with that counter, that's a toxicity meter. It continuously ticks up. You are getting more infected the more time you spend in the Dark Zone. And to really stress out this notion that this is a toxic location, there's a bunch of nasty stuff in the air and on the ground, you'll notice subtle changes in the Dark Zone that in the environment that will reflect what's happening this season, and also at the edges of the screen. Right now, Leo is at the very first level of toxicity, so everything is fine, no worries, but when those levels start going up, the effect on screen will be more pronounced, and with each level that Leo gains, debuffs will be applied to the player. So sure, it's a PvE Dark Zone, there's no PvP here, there's no danger from other players, but you're not only fighting the NPCs, you're also fighting the environment here.
All right, so again, I'm gonna be judged by my gameplay skills here. I'm totally fine with that. You can curse, you can judge as much as you want, but bear in mind that I'm not a super PvP player, so this is gonna be one. Oh, yeah. I'm with the different skills that I'm used to, so I already triggered the hive here. Cool. So again, I'm used to have my drone on my left, the left L1 thing. Let me take coverage because this is a cover shooter, right? Sorry, Alex. Sorry for watching my poor gameplay skills here.
I'm silently judging. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. You can.
You're doing great, Leo.
I know that I'm not doing great, but I'm fine with it.
It's not your build. It's not your build. So
it's not.
When I test the game.
Yes, yeah. That's right. I'm not playing. Someone say, "Oh, dude is running with system corruption." This is not my build. I play. What do I play? What's the name? It's Unit Alloys. And someone is behind me, right? Yeah, please go away. It's definitely not my build. I have turmoil.
I think this is sorry, go for it.
No, go. Make the comments.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the hardest parts on the job when we have to test something, you know, like we make a change, we add the system in the game and we need to test something and we don't have our saves from live loaded in because sometimes the save gets corrupted by some whatever changes that we're making in the background. Doesn't matter, we don't have our saves, we don't have our build, it's not the same keyboard and mouse that I have at home, and assuming you also have to play it live like Leo does, you can't imagine how challenging it is to just be randomly dropped with a random build. You don't even know what abilities you have until you load up the game. And it's, yeah. So you're doing great. You're actually doing great.
I'm used to have my shield on my left button. Oh no. Okay. Sorry, Alex. You told me that I would be fine. I'm not fine. Cool. So what happens when you collect sample canisters from landmarks in Dark Zone?
Now, there's a difference between what will happen right now in the PTS and what will happen at season launch. The idea for season launch, but sadly this is not reflected in the PTS, I don't think so. They should be contaminated. So that means if you grab some sample canisters, fresh ones from the DZ, and you try to exit the Dark Zone through the door, you lose them, just like you do with any kind of contaminated gear right now that you pick up in the DZ. So obviously, as per the normal Dark Zone experience, you pick up the canisters and you have to go and extract.
Oh no. Okay, more enemies. I think I'm gonna just call it short because I don't feel that I'm gonna be able to clean a whole landmark, and we have a lot of things to cover. But the idea is you go to those landmarks, you get the sample canisters, you return to the vendor, and you get bonus for the remaining of the season, right?
Yes, that is the short and sweet.
And you can use them to surge your active modifiers, which gives you bonus. So okay, getting contaminated gear.
I think it's awesome that you have the HUD right now open. So as you can see, Leo has his active modifier on the right, and to the right of the modifier, there's two new icons. One of them is the sample canisters that you currently have on you, and another that's the bottom one next to the modifier, and the one on top is the munitions. So if you remember, we said that you get these canisters from the Dark Zone and you donate them at the base of operation, and in turn you get munitions. Now what munitions does, it gives you a bonus whenever you reload. It also consumes them automatically on the reload, but you also gain a bonus. So as long as you have them in your inventory, you reload, munitions get used, and you get a buff. And for the canisters, you can use your active modifier with its default effect, but if you have some on you and use your modifier, it will take away some of the canisters on the right and give you a surge on top of your effect.
Yeah, finally I used the Resurrection Hive. I'm sorry for the first one. And now I died for sure. Okay. Cool. Alex, I won't torture you anymore.
Leave that screen up. Leave that screen up because it's perfect.
Yeah.
This is something for players to be able to see. As you go up in toxicity, I mentioned that you'll get stronger and stronger debuffs on you. Should you hover over the PvE Dark Zone, you're going to have the full list of effects per toxicity level.
Yes, so all the way to 500. Cool. I feel that I've humiliated myself enough. People are making fun of me on the chat. It's fine. You can go on. But there are more things for this season. So I feel that there are more things that are more interesting to see than me struggling on PvE Dark Zone. So let's go back to a safe environment and let's talk about gear.
Which gear is this? Is this the season gear or is this the other type of gear?
It's the other type of gear. That's the thing I wanna talk. Before we tackle what's new for season 2, I feel that we need to talk about what's important for the game that has been here for a while. So, Alex, what we're doing at the season launch, and what is one of the main focus why we're having such extensive test window for this PTS?
Right. So everybody get ready. It's happening. This is the big PvP update. You don't even know how big it is until I'm going to start saying some numbers soon enough. But
this big.
It's been a...
This big. This all these pages of changes. Yeah, go on.
So we mentioned, I think it was last year, that, hey, we really want to give PvP some love. It hasn't received that much love in probably years. We got an awesome new colleague, Florin, as the lead PvP designer, and he's been spearheading the efforts in regards to PvP. So this season, yes, we will have the PvE Dark Zone, but we are at season launch, we're pushing a massive PvP rebalance. So just to clarify what PvP rebalance is, you have your current gear, it works in a particular way outside of PvP. When in a dark zone or in conflict, you have PvP overrides. We have a massive change list of changes.
So here I'm changing from now PvE stats and now going to PvP stats. I think one thing that is very important to highlight right now is that we're not touching PvE stats. So if you're just a PvE player, if you go there and you play PvE content, nothing will change for you. You can go to Dark Zone PvE and have fun as always with your build, nothing will be changed. But when you go to PvP, we're gonna have a lot of balance. And this is only for system corruption, but we have touched a lot of things. And this is not all, right? We're planning a multi-phase balance process. Can you guide us through like what it means to have different phases for PvP balance?
For sure. So right now, for Season 2 launch, we have around 350, I repeat, 350, I think it's closer to 400, but let's say 350, just to be in the safe ballpark, of talent changes done to the PvP overrides. This is a massive rebalancing effort on the team to ensure that we're working towards a fairer and cleaner PvP environment. Right now, it's just the talents. We're working on, throughout Season 2, we will have updates where we will do the same number of changes on skills, on attributes, and other parts that require balance. But for now, it's just the talents because we saw them as the biggest outliers in terms of messing the balance. So as soon as we end up with the talents in a nice place, we can then move on to other aspects of gear pieces and balance them accordingly. I do have two particular pieces of gear that I want to draw attention because they've been very naughty in PvP. So for PTS, at the very least, Tinkerer is completely disabled in PvP. It's causing a lot of havoc. We need, it needs to not do that. So for now, Tinkerer is disabled in PvP. And another favorite piece of gear of mine, Determined, which is not working as Determined should work in theory, for PvP. Again, this is not affecting the PvE environment outside of the dark zones and conflict. Determined will function as perfect Determined in PvP. For now, this is what how we're addressing that particular change. We'll see how it evolves in the future.
And I think something very important is also to understand. I saw some people like, oh, my weapon got nerfed and something like that. It's not that we're nerfing your weapon. We're making a whole balance to the whole ecosystem. So it's less about your specific gear, your specific weapon, but how it interacts with the whole thing. And this is why it's so important to have this PTS right now. And this is why we would like to have a second phase if possible. That is to make sure that we are giving people the opportunity to interact with all the variables of this complex ecosystem, right?
I'd love nothing more than as many players as possible to jump into the PTS, players that are actively playing PvP, maybe players that have stopped playing the game because they didn't like the PvP environment. I'd love to see your builds. I'd love to see what you think about these changes. It's not necessarily just nerfs, right? Some things were way too strong and were abusable. Some things were way too weak, so they needed some love. And right now, it's not about just, like Leo said, it's not just about one change. It's the entire ecosystem that we're trying to change and make it into a really fun environment and a fun experience.
Yeah, so that's basically it, and I expect you guys to go through everything. I was playing with system corruption because that was one of the items that we've been that we made some changes to adjust to that. We make some changes, for example, to the Catharsis, Exotic Mask. Here is the St. Elmo's engine. So you're seeing that we have different balance for different weapons, different talents. So please take your time to go through all of it. And this is one of the reasons why the patch notes is dropping only tomorrow, because this is a huge document with a lot of changes comparing PvE to PvP, or yes, PvE to PvP. So you're gonna see what changed and how is everything happening. So I teased the community by mistake. I forgot that loadout had one specific weapon. So now that we've covered PvP changes, again, we're not going every single one of them. Just remind that for PTS or for Season 2, we're changing talents. Later, we're going to do skills and attributes in another phase. It's time to go through what's new for this season, and the community has been asking about Caduceus the whole stream. So I kind of teased that to them, and now it's time to show what's new. So this is the new brand, the new gear set, and some of the new weapons for season 2. And yeah, Caduceus is back. People have spotted that since the last update, and they're wondering if it would drop with the Brooklyn event that is happening right now. But no, Caduceus is a Season 2 weapon, right, Alex? And we brought back from Division 1, one of the fan favorites.
Yeah, exactly like you said. For Caduceus particularly, I don't think those numbers are anywhere close to final. I think only just this morning we managed to push some numbers into it, expect it to change or not. But yeah, we know it's a fan favorite. So within Season 2, you'll be able to get your beloved. You'll be able to get your hands on a beloved weapon again.
Yeah, and this is the talent that some people are speculating. So critical hits repair you and your allies for 1.5% of that hit's delta damage. So critical hits, total damage, you got 1.5% back to you and your allies as repair. We also have, let's go through the other. So this is the exotic. It's not the climax exotic. So you'll be able to enjoy since the beginning as long as you unlock it. We also have some, and that's very important. The climax exotic is not going to be on PTS, so it's going to be revealed later down the road. Now going to the other weapons that we have here, we have Insult to Injure. This brings a new talent called Head Scratcher. The normal version of the talent deals 30% amplified damage to confuse enemies, and after 4 kills you apply confuse to enemy you hit. This is the perfect version of it, so it's 35% amplified damage to confuse enemies, and after 3 kills you apply confuse to them.
It says TBD.
Yeah, it's TBD. Like a lot of things are TBD here. It's people will see that it's a lot of things are TBD. So this is the Insult to Injure, and we also have this one that is called the Brain Break, and also has the same TBD talent that is called Head Scratcher. So at least in the patch notes would be Head Scratcher, and the build is TBD. And to be confirmed if tomorrow is going to be TBD or we have the right name. As we mentioned before, a lot of things are very hot off the press. Cool. Let's show the new gear set. So this is the new gear set. It's called, I have the name here. I know that it's TBD there. The new gear set is called Ortiz Reficery. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but yeah. Oh, it's there. Yeah, gear set. Ortiz Reficery. So 2 pieces gives 8% skill efficiency, 60% repair skills, 60%, and the 4 pieces unlock the new talent. Rapid Application and Prototype. It's a very long name for a talent, and this is the description you have. So do you want to comment on like the direction of those the gear that we are adding to Season 2? Because there's a lot of things here about skills. As you see, it's a yellow core gear set, and if we go to the brand set, it's also a yellow core one. It's called Edelweiss, I think. And we have here repair skills, skill haste, and skill efficiency. Yeah, Alex, guide us through it. Sorry, I spoke for too long.
So this is very fresh off the press, and I can't read that far, Leo. The screen is too far for me to be able to read the text. So I think you're in a better measure to do the sets justice.
Yeah, so perfect empathic resolve. Repairing an ally increase their total weapon and skill damage by 3 to 20% for 20 seconds, or 1 to 15% to yourself. Effectiveness increased by your skill tier. So this is the talent for the chest, and the backpack has perfect safeguard with full armor, increased total skill repair by 160%. And this is again the three bonus that you get by having the brand set. And there's one extra exotic thing that you might have seen here. We have the exotic knee pads called Nurse's knee pads with those attributes that you're seeing on screen, and the talents impervious that both you and allies within 10 meters of you receive 40% hazard protection. So very good for your defense. So although it's like a red core one, the talent is for your defense. Any special comment about the gears that we're introducing in Season 2?
They are thematically tied to the season mechanic and the whole toxicity aspect of the PvE Dark Zone. So like even this bonus here giving you hazard protection, it's both in line with this idea of toxicity, but we also thought a bit about the PvP environment, and we know that a little bit of extra hazard protection definitely might be welcome.
Cool. So we've covered basically the weapons that are new for the weapon and the gear that is new to Season 2. We talk about the balance that we're doing to a lot of talents to the PvP side of things. We talk about Dark Zones being introduced. We talk about a lot of things, and Season 2 is going to be a very cool step to our Year 8. I have some known issues here to people to be aware of. Some gear, weapons, and talent visions are currently placeholder. I guess you have noticed already. And the PTS cache blueprints is available in the PTS build, but it currently reflects its previous state and may not include all newer blueprints. So just so you are aware of it as well. Alex, I won't go through again. I want to show this because you're going to be able, the community will be able to read these themselves tomorrow. This is like 28 A4 pages of balances to the PvP environment. I had here in case we had like one specific one to tackle. But it's a very cool thing because we're delivering content for PvE community. We are introducing a new encouragement for people to go and explore Dark Zone like me, to learn where to take over, which build to bring to there. Like I'm sorry for the gameplay, but yeah, we have a new reason for PvE players to play Dark Zone. We have new reasons to PvP players to play Dark Zone, and we're doing this big overhaul in PvP talents. Any final notes from your side when it comes to like how players should approach Season 2 PTS?
So stuff might be more broken than usual. Again, this is a super early build. We are aware of some bugs that exist, and it's normal as we get closer and closer to release. Expect that we'll iron out those issues. Still, it's super important for us to get as much feedback as we can. For PvP players, please let us know how you feel about these changes. This is the only way that we can actually make a healthy PvP environment, by making these kinds of balance passes and reflecting upon them, seeing them being used in different builds and gameplay. What else? A lot of work in progress is in here, so expect the usual placeholder icons here and there. We're aware of that. Sorry, if we do a second PTS, they're all going to be in there. And I think what I also want to make sure that we mention for the PvE Dark Zone, there is an interesting aspect to it, and I'd be curious to hear players' feedback. So this would be the first PvE environment where 12 players can exist, right? So because so far raids are 8 people, countdown it's 8 people again. So 12 players within the same spot. You will be dealing with the NPCs that are there. You will be dealing with the toxicity that will hinder you the more time you spend. But, however, there are also two more parts to this experience. So, obviously, with 12 players, my biggest concern was, what if they all group up and just demolish the content in the PvE DZ? So, with that, let's say that the hyenas are monitoring this Dark Zone. The more players within the PvE Dark Zone, the more alerted the hyenas are. How this would translate into gameplay is the enemies are going to become tougher. So if you're jumping into the PTS, you're shooting an enemy, you kill them in 5 seconds, and then you meet a new patrol or you go to a new landmark, and you're noticing that you've been firing for 5 seconds, yet the enemy is not dying. That's because we're dynamically scaling the enemies up and down based on how many players there are in the DZ. And to try to make this experience maybe a bit more interesting or exciting for the players, obviously when we were playtesting this internally, when you went to extract it, it wasn't that climactic moment normally in the Dark Zone, the extraction is climactic because another player can come in and kill you. This can't happen in a PvE environment. You can't go rogue at all in this environment. So what we ended up doing is instead of other players, we spawn hunters at extraction. And not only do we spawn hunters, I did think of the scenario where maybe 12 of you all are going to group up and are going to be at the extraction to beat my hunter. So instead of one hunter, we're going to have the more players at the extraction, the more hunters we're going to spawn. And we have some dynamic scaling applied to the hunters based on how many players there are at extraction. We did a couple of playtests with the team and Yannick and myself. It's amazing to see 12 players in one place shooting at the same 2, 3, 4 hunters that spawn in front of you, and it's so cool to see all of the effects and whatnot. I hope we don't crash the servers or the game or whatever with this, but it looks awesome. It's a sight to behold, and it's the first PvE per se environment where 12 players can play at once.
Amazing. Alex, thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry for the mess. We've had a lot to cover, and I had a lot of issues with my gameplay, but I'm sure the community is happy. I've been seeing a lot of positive comments. A lot of the questions that are being that people are making right now, we covered before in the stream, so I'm not gonna just repeat them, but it's gonna be available for you. We took care of some of them already. And the reminder about PTS, the preload starts today. I feel that I think it's already on, but tonight at some point will be available for players. Tomorrow we might have a patch to fix some of those issues that you've been seeing on my gameplay screen, and the patch notes also drops tomorrow. So I'm sure people are excited to dive into those PvP changes, but it's gonna need to wait till tomorrow when the PTS is available. Okay, it lasts over the weekend, and on Monday it's off. Hopefully we're gonna have a second phase based on your feedback. So let us know. Use Discord. We have the dedicated spaces. We have Reddit. People are always very vocal and very nice on Reddit to organize feedback. We have Discord, Twitter, socials in general. So please let us know what you think, and we're sure gonna discuss that next week. Okay, Brooklyn event is happening right now. So you have the event pass. Next Tuesday we have a new hunter dropping in Brooklyn. We have a new global event, and yeah, exciting moment soon. The climax mission and the Whiplash exotic pistol as well available. Alex, thank you so much for today.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm super happy to say that season 2 is finally gonna be the PvP update. Man, I've been waiting so long to say.
Amazing. So guys, thank you so much for your audience, and see you next time. Bye bye.